Alrighty. Well, hey everyone. My name is Matthew Osborne. I think I am live now. If you can hear me, please leave your comments in the chat there. I'm pretty sure I might have just been talking to myself for about 3 minutes because, yep, that I don't think I was actually quite live yet. Turns out there's three buttons you have to hit to go live, and I only hit two of the three, and I completely missed out on that third one there. So, I had a great conversation with myself the past 3 or 4 minutes. Sorry about that, everyone. It looks like there was up to about 7 people on here. Some people probably left thinking the event was not going to happen. But for those of you that did stick around, we'll have a good time answering some of your questions about ScoutIQ. Colton's on here from Huntsville, Alabama. Hey, Colton. Kevin's here from San Diego. Just started selling on Amazon. That is awesome. I was just saying to myself a minute ago that I go to San Diego a couple times a year because we have some good friends out there. And the weather is always really, really nice. Earlier today in Colorado, it was like high 30s, low 40s, so it was a little cold this morning. The weather, once it figured out it was spring, or not spring, fall, decided to go towards winter real fast. So it's been a little colder here this morning, but it's good. I like the cold weather. But again, I like San Diego and I like the weather out there sometimes. Never been to Huntsville, Alabama, though. Never been to Alabama in general. We're always doing these things called Turn the Page conferences. If you guys are new to the Scout IQ and the Book Flipper community, you probably haven't heard about them. But we put on conferences around the country 3 to 4 times a year. And these conferences, we open it up to roughly about 30 people, and we get an Airbnb. We all go to the Airbnb and have a good day and a half, really, of talking about books and selling on Amazon. We fly in speakers for it, and it's always a really good time. We've done one in LA, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Arizona, Chicago. We didn't do a Turn the Page, but it was a meetup we just did in New York City. And then we've got a meetup later this week, or later this month, for a Turn the Page event in Atlanta. Atlanta is our next event, and sadly that event is already sold out. But if that sounds interesting to you guys, and you guys want to maybe come to one of these Turn the Page events, be active in the Book Flipper community. That's where we always announce them, or here on YouTube, on my channel or the Book Flippers channel. And we always announce those, and the tickets do go fast. So if that sounds interesting, we'll announce our next event after this coming Atlanta event. And be sure to grab tickets for that and come out and have a great day. Just learning how to grow your business, networking with other sellers. That's always a really good time. We've got Alan from Texas. Great to have you here. Alan, we're probably actually going to do an event. I don't know where you are in Texas, but we're going to do an event probably in Austin, Texas this coming year. We love Austin. We've been there a few times. We have some friends that have a business out there, and we can probably use their headquarters to host this event, which will be really, really fun. So we'll probably make our way to Austin early next year for a Turn the Page event. It looks like we have Philip here. Good afternoon. Love the app. Thank you very much, Philip. I'm glad you like the app. How long have you guys been selling on Amazon? So Philip, love the app. Did you just start using it, or have you been using it for a little while? How long have you been selling on Amazon? It'll be good to kind of gauge how long you guys have been selling on Amazon to know how to tailor this content. I'll be answering questions for as long as you guys want me to. So throw any questions you have here in the comments. I do have a few slides of common questions we get and things you might not know about Scout IQ. So we'll go over that in just a moment. Caleb's actually in the other room right now doing another interview. So it'll just be me on here today. We're here at the Scout IQ offices in Denver, Colorado. If you guys are ever in the Denver area, please stop by. We love to have visitors here. We can give you a few cool things if you stop by the office, put your picture up on the wall of fame. So stop by if you're ever in the Denver area. Houston here for Philip. That's not too far from Austin. So when you do the event in Austin, you should definitely come out for that. Like I said, we normally have about 30 spots we open up for those events. Our Las Vegas event was the biggest one. We opened up, I think it was 80 spots for that event. But we like kind of the smaller atmosphere, and so we're kind of limiting it to about 30 now because it's a big enough group that there's enough networking there and people to talk to, but it's not so big that you lose out on that intimate kind of setting where you get to talk to the speakers and ask questions and talk to everyone else that's there. So be sure to check out the Austin event when we announce it. Alan said, nice, we'll keep an eye open for that. A couple of months for me, that's great. Let me dive in and show you guys a couple things with ScoutIQ that you may or may not know that can kind of help you along the way and help you in this journey of selling on Amazon effectively. Let me pull up my slides here and grab something for you guys. Alright, so hopefully if you guys are on the ScoutIQ trial, which all of you are at some stage in the trial, you've seen this screen already with the within the app. So this very first screen here off to the left that you can see is going to be the first screen you see when you open up your ScoutIQ app. You'll have the download database, your triggers button, scout button, and settings button. Hopefully you guys have had a chance to kind of play around with those. But a few important things to note. So if you click on that settings button, the middle screen is going to pop up there. You have a few different options there where you can turn on audio, turn off audio. Even though we have the option to turn audio on so it makes sounds every single time, normally if you're in a book sale or a store or something like that, it's normally kinder to turn the audio off so everyone's not hearing the ding 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 as you're scanning through books. ISBN search only. I'm actually not sure if that's, I think we might have removed that. Let me see in my app real fast. Technically that feature isn't needed anymore. Let me open it up and show you guys what I'm talking about. So we still have that feature on there. So we're gonna actually remove that. Originally, what that feature was made for is that if you scan something that is not an ISBN, like some other type of product, it'll open up a search window in ScoutIQ where you can see a bunch of different products and you can select the one you actually scanned. Before, if you were scanning through stuff and you accidentally scanned something that wasn't a book, it would bring up the multiple results window and you'd have to go in there and select something in order to keep scanning. So people like the ISBN only option. That way if you accidentally scanned something that wasn't a book, it didn't do anything and it didn't mess up your scanning flow and you had to click something, you can keep on scanning. We changed that, so now if the window pops up and you scan something else, it just drops down the window and goes to whatever else you scanned. So ISBN search can always be turned off now. We're probably going to remove that from the app. Lock screen is a really cool thing for those of you that like to scan with your phone in your pocket and have earbuds in so you can hear it. You can turn on the lock screen and it'll lock the screen in place so you can still see the information on there, but you won't accidentally touch something in your pocket and get off the Scout screen, which is a really cool feature to have. And then let's talk about real fast the different scanning options. So most people are on the Database Plus Live plan. A couple of you guys might be on the Live plan only. If you're on Database Plus Live, you'll have all three of those options as you see there in the middle screen. If you're on Live plan only, you're only gonna have the Live option. So I always recommend people to start out doing Data Plus Live and select that middle option there. What this does is that if you have database only selected, it'll only take from your database. So you'll first have to download the database on that home screen. Once the database is downloaded, you can go ahead and scan things and it's only gonna look up things on the database. If it's not found in the database, you'll just get a no results found. Thankfully, our database is about 99.8% complete of all the books on Amazon. So very rarely will you have a no results found, but there is that possibility on database only. Database Plus Live, the way that works is it first looks in the database. If it's there, it pulls that information. If it's not in the database, it checks it live on Amazon and pulls that information for you. That's the best of both worlds. You can scan through, you're not using your data the majority of the time, you're just using your database. It's a lot quicker to scan through things. And then if you want to look up something live, you can tap the live button on the ScoutIQ screen, or it'll pull the information straight from Amazon if it's not in the database. And then live only is exactly what it sounds like. It's only looking up the information live on Amazon. It's not using the database at all. This is great for real-time results. The prices are going to be up to date to the second. The big negative side of this is it's using your data or Wi-Fi and it's going to be a whole lot slower. It's only going to be a second or two to bring down that information, but for those of you that have had some experience scanning, especially with the Bluetooth scanner, a second or two per scan is going to slow you down a lot versus just using database and scanning as fast as you can. The rule with books is that if you're out at a library or a thrift store and you're doing cherry picking is what it's called, if you scan 100 books, your average accept rate you can expect from most places will be between 2.5 and 5%. So you scan 100 books, you're gonna take home 5 books. So the real challenge, or the real goal, I guess I should say, of scouting is to scan through books as quickly as possible. If you go and use just your phone's camera and slowly scan through every single thing, you scan 100 books in an hour, you're gonna take about 5 books home. If you use an external Bluetooth scanner, we'll talk about that in a second, you can scan through 1,000 books and you're going to take, 50 books home instead of 5. And so of course you're going to be a lot happier, you're going to make a lot more money and feel like you're making a lot more progress. So scanning books as quickly as possible is ultimately the goal, and that's why Data Plus Live is a great thing to use. Lastly, I'll jump into some of the questions you guys have. Triggers, if you click on that button, you're going to have this screen to the far right pop up. Right now, if you guys have just started, you're probably only going to have the ScoutIQ default triggers and nothing else. If you click that, nothing's going to happen. The reason for that is we always want people to have the default triggers to fall back to. If you'd like to make other trigger sets or change the default triggers, you can click the Edit Triggers button on this page. My face is covering it up right now on the screen. But you can click the Edit Triggers, it'll open it up online. It's best to do this on your desktop computer. You can see all the information easier. You create a new trigger set, you can name it whatever you want. And if you like the default triggers, but maybe you want to change a few little things about them, you can click on the bottom of that page, Restore to Defaults, and it'll populate that page with the default triggers, and you can edit those. You'll never be able to edit the default triggers themselves. That way, if you ever make a mistake on your triggers, you always have those to fall back to. So let's real fast jump into some of the questions you have, and then I've got a few more things I want to share with you guys. So Colton says, can you track team members' scans such as their accept rate? So if you're using live or hidden mode, we're not going to have that data flowing back to the online portal. We will eventually have that feature where you can track things coming back to the portal, so you can track their accept rates, when the scans were made, etc. Right now, you're not going to see that information on the app themselves. You can scroll through to the scan tracker and see these scans and accepts on their device itself, but it's not going to go to the online portal. We do have a really cool thing coming out either tonight or tomorrow, depending on if the App Store and the App Store and the Play Store cooperate with us. We're going to be releasing a new feature that will allow you to better track what your sourcers are doing, especially if they're in full mode and can actually see the data. We'll have some new ways for you guys to track their scans, their buy cost, and things like that, and be sent back to you if you'd like. So be on the lookout for that. If it's today, it'll probably be around 5 o'clock MST. Chuck in the Book Flipper group will announce it there, and we'll send an email. If the updates don't go through today on the App Store and the Google Play Store, this update will come tomorrow, and we'll probably do a live stream sometime around noon MST tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. There's some really cool things we're excited to announce that we're adding to the app that you'll see very shortly. Let's see here. Philip says, Amazon almost 2 years, booked 7 months, started using the Amazon Seller app, 2 weeks with ScoutIQ. That's great. So I'm curious, Philip, with your experience using the Amazon Seller app and now using ScoutIQ, how much quicker do you think it is when you go out and find books, especially since you've been doing books for 7 months? You have a lot of experience, I'm assuming, with the Amazon Seller app. I'm curious how that's transitioned over for you to ScoutIQ, and if you've seen an increase in your speed of being able to go through those books. And also, let me know if you're using a Bluetooth scanner. I'm curious how many of you guys are using external scanners. I'll get in that to a second and talk about that a touch. But an external Bluetooth scanner can help speed you up a lot, especially if you've already been doing Amazon for 2 years and books for 7 months. If you don't already, that would be a great investment to make, and we can talk about how much that is and where you guys can buy those scanners in a minute. Kevin says, what does always awake mean in the settings? Always awake means that your phone is not going to turn off. So if you go to always awake mode, your phone screen is going to stay on, and it's going to override the automatic settings of your phone to dim the screen after a minute or two. That's really good if you set your phone down and you're wanting to scan and see your phone. Normally your phone settings will eventually dim the phone and you won't be able to see it anymore. You'll have to tap your screen to wake it back up. Always awake always leaves the screen on so you can see it while you're scanning and stuff like that. So it'll be a lot easier for you. Caleb likes to put Velcro on the back of his phone and stick his scanner there and scan through books while he can see his phone. I personally don't do that. I like to set my phone down on the shelf and have both hands free to scan, and I'm just glancing over at my phone while I'm scanning, and then I can go to the next shelf, etc. And I don't like flipping my phone back and forth each time I scan. So that's up to personal preference, but if you do like setting your phone down and scanning through, always awake, we'll leave that on so you don't get it going to sleep on you. Kevin says, Why do I get a gray bar instead of a green accept or red reject bar? That's a great question. So if you're using the ScoutIQ default triggers, the only time you're ever going to get a gray bar is if you're scanning something that's not in the books category. If you scan a toy or if you scan a piece of food or something like that, it'll go a gray bar and it'll say at the very top what category you scanned. It'll say toys or games, etc. And that'll be a gray bar because you don't have triggers set up for that. If you are scanning a book and you're getting a gray bar, chances are you're not using the defaults, you're using triggers you've set up yourself, and that book falls into a category you have not set up triggers for yet. So check and see what your custom triggers are if that's what you're using. If you're using the default triggers, you're probably scanning something that's not a book. One important thing that I've noticed people do a lot is that they don't understand children's books are actually a little bit different than normal books. Children's books have a barcode on the back, but most of the time that is not a normal ISBN on the back. Children's books, for whatever reason, normally have the ISBN barcode on the inside cover page or the back cover page. If you scan the barcode on the back of a children's book, it's going to bring up, forget what it brings up. It's whatever, not the ASIN for the book, it's something else, the UPC. The UPC for that book, which doesn't correspond to that book on Amazon. So if you scan a UPC instead of an ISBN, you'll get random results on Amazon and it's not going to fall into the book category. So that could be what you're doing also. If you're picking up a book and scanning it and it randomly shows a gray bar, you could be scanning a UPC instead of the ISBN for that book. Let me know if any of that makes sense, if you have more questions about that. Alan says, using the Bluetooth Opticon, great, that's a really, really good scanner. I'm sure you're scanning through books real quickly with that, hopefully, and using ScoutIQ too. Use earpods to hear audio. Awesome. So you probably use the lock feature on ScoutIQ to be able to keep that screen unlocked and be able to hear everything. Kevin says, how can we best integrate Keepa and Camel data with buttons at the bottom while we are scanning? So it depends on your style of scanning. Most of the time, unless something looks weird on the results of the screen, or maybe it's an accept and you'd rather look at more information before you actually throw it in your cart, it's great to hit that Keepa button and be able to pull up the Keepa chart and see the history of it. I'd highly recommend you don't look at the Keepa chart for every single book. It's going to slow you down. You're not going to get through near as many books, and most of the time the data on the screen is enough to make the decision you need to make to find out if you should keep that book or if you shouldn't. If you're checking the Keepa chart for every single book, or even for a majority of the books, you're scanning through the books a lot slower than you should be, and most likely you're going to be going through, like I said, 100 books or 50 books an hour instead of 1,000 or 2,000 books like you could be with the Bluetooth scanner and ScoutIQ. Like I said, your accept rate's going to be pretty constant when you're going out scanning and cherry picking. So the more books you can get through, the more accepts you're going to bring home. So I like to go through and scan. Once I hit an accept, I'll pull that book out. If the data on the screen makes perfect sense to me, I'm very confident I can purchase that book. I throw it in the cart and keep going. If I have questions, if something looks off, maybe it's basing it off the buy box because there's no prime prices available, I'll click through to Keepa maybe to see the history of that book or to see if it's actually selling for that. A very common time I use Keepa is, if you've been scanning, you probably figured this out. If you're going out, sometimes books are priced incorrectly. You're going to scan something, it'll say accept, and it'll say some crazy price like $800 for this book. Most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, though, those books are still worth it to keep. If you click on the Amazon button for most of those, you'll see that there's like 2 or 3 Amazon sellers that have listed their book at $800. The other repricers have matched that. And if you look at Keepa, you'll see the average sale price for that book's like $20 or something like that. For some reason, one person came on really high and the other repricers matched it. Normally those books are still good to keep. People think those are false accepts sometimes, but those are still great books to keep because you can come on the listing then and price it correctly and maybe even price that at $30 or $40, and then someone that's coming to buy that book is going to see your price at $30 and everyone else at $800 or $900, and guess whose book's going to be purchased first. So Keepa is a great thing to look at with that and see what the book has actually been selling for and what the market supports. So I only recommend using Keepa in those situations when you're out in normal conditions, cherry picking. But Keepa does have to do with the update that's coming today or tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that, because the way you use Keepa within ScoutIQ is going to change a little bit. You'll still be able to use Keepa, but it is going to change a touch, but it will get better, I promise that. Philip says, I'm about 1,000% faster. I can get through the duds and find better ones. With the ScoutIQ app, I'm able to get books I would have otherwise passed on. That's awesome. I'm currently using the Opticon Bluetooth scanner. That's great too. The Opticon is what Caleb and I use, the 2002. It's a great scanner. And yeah, it really is a lot faster. So if you guys are new to ScoutIQ, those of you that haven't been selling for a while, at least for me, when I started using an app and using the camera, I thought it was really, really fast. It was like, this actually isn't slow. I don't know what people are talking about. I feel like I can go through books at a really good rate. You don't realize how slow it is until you get a Bluetooth scanner and start scanning through things and see how much faster it is with a Bluetooth scanner. Let's jump into that topic for a quick second. Let me show you guys, let me pull up a slide here of a couple different scanners you guys might want to look at. And I'll tell you kind of the pros and cons of each of them. So if you see these scanners right here, over on the far left, we have the OPN 2002, the Opticon. This is going to be one of your higher end scanners. You can pick this one up used for about anywhere from $90 to $120 on something like eBay. And then you can find these brand new on Amazon for I think about $199. These scanners actually are not being made anymore, but people still have some new stock of them, so you still can buy them new. Sometimes you can find them refurbished. Those are going to be a little bit pricier. If you buy them used off something like eBay, you'll get them from between $90, like I said, to $120, depending on where you're finding them for. Now, that might seem like a lot for this little tiny Bluetooth scanner that fits in the palm of your hand. I think I might actually have one in the room right now. Actually, I do not. But if you guys haven't seen them in person, they're really, really small. Here's why this is actually a great investment either way for those of you that are outsourcing. So, like I said, these are selling for roughly $100 used. You can buy this for $100. You can go out, scan. It'll increase your scanning a lot. You'll be able to take a lot more books and make more money. But let's say 3 months down the road, you decide, hey, selling on Amazon is not for me. I want to get out of it. You can sell this scanner almost guaranteed for exactly what you purchased it for if you purchased it used. I would buy these scanners for $100 all day long and know I could turn around and sell them again for $100 on eBay or Facebook Marketplace or something like that, because they're in very high demand and they're almost a little bit difficult to find used sometimes because of that. So it's a great investment because they're quality, they work well, they'll help you find more books, make more money, and if you decide not to do it, you can always just turn around and sell it and pretty much break even on what it costs you to purchase that. The scanner in the middle is the KDC. It's another popular one. It's more of a higher end scanner. I'm pretty sure KDCs go for roughly $140. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. For those of you that use KDC, I don't personally use it, but a lot of people do. And that's also a really good scanner there. It has a couple of different options in the screen you can use that you can't do with the Opticon, but overall those are two great scanners. The iYoyo, the one on the far right, is going to be your budget entry-level scanner. You can pick the iYoyo up on Amazon brand new for I believe $45 Prime. So it'll be a lot cheaper. It is bigger. It looks a little more like a garage door opener than a small little handheld thing. But if you're okay with a little bit bigger size, people like them. They seem to work well. And if something happens to it, if you lose it, if it breaks, it was $45 instead of $100 to $200 like those other scanners would be. So these are great scanners to use. Like I said, I really recommend the 2002. I like it. It works well, and you can always pretty much sell it for what you bought it for if you decide it's not for you. So that's a great one to get into if you haven't used scanners before. Let me just jump back into some of these questions. Is there a way we can tell when we scan whether the book will be restricted to sell on Amazon? Another great question. Let me bring up a slide here for you guys to show you something, because a lot of people do not know about this. So if you look at the screen right now, if you see on the bottom left-hand corner, you're going to see a big red R on top of where the image of the book normally is. This red R does not necessarily mean your account is restricted from this. We've put in a list of commonly restricted books to let you know if you scan something that's commonly restricted. So if you're going through and scanning and you see this red R at the bottom, you know that'll be a red flag for you to say, hey, let's see if I'm restricted in this. If you want to see if your specific account is restricted, you can tap on that red R in the bottom left-hand corner and it'll bring up the page on Seller Central and it'll tell you which conditions you can sell this book in. So your account might not be restricted on this, but if you've got a newer seller's account, almost all of these commonly restricted books you will probably be restricted in. Amazon, for some reason, is a little bit random with how they restrict different sellers. Some sellers are restricted on a book randomly and they've been selling for a long time, and a brand new seller's account for some reason is not restricted on that book. Sometimes it can be random, but more times than not, the newer your account is, the more things you're going to be restricted on. So if you ever see that red R pop up, double check you can actually sell that book. Now, like I said, since every account is different, there might be some books you're restricted on that don't show up with the red R. We are working on a way around that right now. Hopefully in the next couple weeks to a month, we can release something to you guys that'll let you know if your specific account is restricted. Right now, Amazon's not giving us that data, so we can't see that. But that red R is a great thing to keep an eye out for, and it'll save you a lot of the time if you've got a new account and you just want to see if you might be restricted on a book. So keep an eye out for that when you're out scanning, but that's a great question. Gary says, can you check history of your scans? Is there a way to send your scans to upload to Amazon? Gary, at the current time, no, but like I said a little earlier, keep an eye out for the update we're releasing either tonight or tomorrow. We will throw an email out to all of you guys, and we'll throw a post in the Book Flipper community on Facebook if you're not already a member of that. Let me throw a link up to that. So any of you guys that are not already a member of the Book Flipper community, let me resize this here for a second. Throw this up here for you. If you're not already a member, become a member of this Book Flipper community. This is our main community group. There's over 10,000 members. I think it's almost 11,000 now. It's extremely active. You can get all your questions answered, and whenever we do new updates or do live streams or training videos, things like that, we'll always throw them in the Book Flipper community group. Sorry. So be a part of that group. You can just go to bit.ly/BF group. That's all lowercase, bit.ly/BF group, all lowercase, and join that group if you have not already. The update we're releasing today or tomorrow, I'll give you guys a little sneak peek. We are giving you kind of a backdoor way of creating a buy list with ScoutIQ. You'll be able to send information online and then automatically upload that to Amazon. It'll be really, really cool. And for those of you that have been wanting that for a while, or if that's the way you'd like to maybe list things, keep an eye out from the update. There's a really cool thing we've kind of worked up to help you guys do exactly that. So great question there. Kevin says, can you scan the cover of the book if there's no ISBN? Yes. So let me see if I actually have a screenshot of this. No, I do not. Let me show you here on my phone and see if you guys can actually pick this up. Let me change my screen here. So if you are on ScoutIQ and you click the scan button in the bottom corner, you're going to get this screen right here. Let me hold this up here. You're going to get that screen right there to scan books with. You can see in the bottom you've got a barcode option, an ISBN option, or a title option. If you do the ISBN or the barcode option, it's going to be automatic there. You can hover over barcode, it'll scan up and bring up the information like normal. If you do ISBN, this is actually OCR, optical character recognition. You can hover over the text of the ISBN. Normally the ISBNs are always listed on the cover page. If you flip 2 pages into the book, you'll see the ISBNs. You can hover over that and it'll capture that. Sometimes if the ISBN is in the back of the book, maybe it's covered by a sticker, but the ISBN is still visible, you can use OCR to scan that. If you want to scan the cover, you can do the title option, the third option there. Hover over the title. Now this is not the same as the Amazon app title or cover search. This title search is still using OCR, optical character recognition. It's just grabbing the title from the cover of the book and searching that for you, and then you can select the right book there. I really recommend with books, let me grab a book real fast to show you this example. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back here. So if you do cover search on something like this, what the app is actually doing is it's reading Side Hustle and searching that for you. So you can hopefully pull up this book right here. If the book has a really intricately designed cover, it might not be able to pick up that text right there. One trick is to normally scroll through the first couple pages of the book and go to the cover page within the book. It's normally a lot easier to read text, and the app will normally pick that up a lot quicker. So those are 3 different ways you can scan books. Most books, you can just use the barcode option or your Bluetooth scanner. If that's not available, ISBN, optical character recognition, is an easy way to do that. It'll save you a ton of time instead of manually typing those in. Title option, like I said, will just cover the title and do optical character recognition there. Or a fourth option, if you prefer to, you can click the little microphone button and do speech to text and just say the ISBN into your phone, and it'll search that for you there. So be sure to test all of those out. Since it is optical character recognition, it's not always perfect. If there's smudges, things are in the way, sometimes it won't read it properly. But more times than not, it'll pick it up almost instantly, and you'll get the result you were hoping for. Gary says, sorry I missed your presentation on the update. Oh, no problem at all. Like I said, just keep an eye out for that. You guys will really like what we're announcing there. We have some really cool things we're adding to the app. Alan says, the mic button with headphones works really well. Yeah, so yeah, the mic button, if you're wanting to just do speech to text, is a really, really easy way. Some people think it's awkward to sit there in the corner of a store talking to yourself. But if it works, it works. And if it helps you get through things faster, I say go for it and do it and be the person in the corner of the room talking to yourself. I do it all the time. Yeah, let me know if you guys have other questions. One thing I want to share with you guys while we're on here, let me pull it up for you. Messing around with the new software for doing these live streams, and so still getting used to how this all works right here. If you guys have not heard of Book Flipper University, Book Flipper University is something we put together specifically for beginners. So if you are brand new to ScoutIQ and brand new to selling on Amazon, this course was made with you in mind. We'd like to give a discount to our ScoutIQ customers of 50% off. So if you guys want to test out Book Flip University, what this is, it's a 4-week training where we take you through from the very beginning of how do you sell books on Amazon, where do you find these books, what books should you look for, and how do you scan them, all the way through listing those books and tracking them and building a business around books on Amazon. We had a ton of questions, always repeated, so we turned it into a training course. Use ScoutIQ 50 all caps to get 50% off of it. Hopefully it'll help you guys get started if you're brand new and walk you through everything you need to know. If it's not what you're wanting or if it's not what you think it is, just shoot me an email and no questions asked. I'll refund all the money you guys spent on it if it's not what you're wanting. So if you're brand new, this is a great way to get started and have a lot of questions answered. If you guys like just searching on YouTube and finding other people talking about it, we even have a lot of this information on our YouTube channels. Go ahead and do that. You can find all the information for free out there. The reason Book Flipper University exists is because a lot of times you can get information overload just going to YouTube and trying to search things. You'll find 50 different ways to do the same thing, and maybe you're not going to find everything in the complete order you're looking for. Book Flipper University is just our method of doing it. They're in order week by week. And you can see exactly step 1 all the way through tracking your books, how to get started. So throwing that out there, if you guys are interested, bookflipperuniversity.com, and use the coupon code ScoutIQ50 to get 50% off of that if you're wanting to go that route. Kevin says, not all prices show up. Can you talk about Amazon's API and what you can and cannot do at this point? Yes, great question. So on the app, I might actually have a screenshot showing this. Let's see here. Let me just throw up this one right here. All right, so on this screen that I just pulled up, look at the screenshot on the far right. Let me pull it up here so I can see it better. The screenshot on the far right, it'll be the one without the cover of the book in the thumbnail at the bottom left-hand corner. Look at that one. So it says accept right there. If you look at the FBA column on this book, it'll be blank. You guys will probably see this quite often. When you're going out scanning, a book will show accept, but it's not going to show anything in the FBA column. The reason for that is the way Amazon's API works and how we communicate back and forth with Amazon with the app. Is the Amazon sends the lowest 15 to 20 offers to us. So if there are FBA offers in the lowest 15 to 20 offers, we can pull those out and display them for you there. If there's more than 20 merchant fulfilled offers that are lower priced than the first FBA offer, there won't be any FBA offers visible. Now this
Of course, it's a bummer. It'd be nice to be able to see all the FBA offers there. But it's not a game changer for you guys because there's a way to kind of work around this. So if you look at this far right screen right here, you'll see in this particular case, there were more than 20 offers lower price than the lowest FBA offer, so there's no FBA offers displayed. If we were to click that Amazon button on the screen right there, I can almost guarantee you it'll come up and there will be prime offers for this book. Here's the really cool thing, is the used buy box on Amazon displays every time no matter what. So if there's a used buy box, Amazon's gonna return that information to us. The cool thing about that is the used buy box 99% of the time is going to be the lowest FBA offer. So even though we can't see those exact FBA offers, we can always know that the used buy box, if it's higher than those merchant fulfilled offers listed in the far left column there, is going to be the lowest FBA offer. So in this case, this book is 151 plus e-score, so it's selling almost every single day. Profit right there looks like $2.49. So this book could be a great buy. What ScoutIQ did in this case, if you look at the used buy box, it's highlighted in orange because ScoutIQ is saying, hey, I'm looking at this right here to make my decision. It picked the used buy box because the used buy box is $8.89, which is higher than all those merchant fulfilled offers. Meaning I can almost guarantee you if you were to click the Amazon button and go there, the lowest FBA offer would be $8.89, and that's how it's basing the accept for this book off of. So we can kind of see through it. Even though Amazon sometimes won't send us that information, we can almost always see what the lowest FBA offer is and help you guys make an informed decision off of that. Hopefully that makes sense. There are limitations to Amazon's API. Some things we'd love to see, we can't see. But even if we don't see those FBA offers, like I said, you guys can still be confident in what the app's telling you because we can get the used buy box and that will almost always be the lowest FBA offer. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you had another question there and I can go in more detail on that. Gary says, so long as you don't answer yourself. Yeah, you can talk to yourself so long as you're not answering yourself. That's a great point. Some people fly through scanning books without looking at the scanner. I have to look at the scanner to see if reject or accepted. Is there something I'm missing? Maybe I have a reject sound off. Yeah, so in the settings right there, you can pull up the settings page so you can see there's an option to turn your audio on or off, which is probably what you're talking about here. If you look at the setting right there, there's an option for audio. I think we default audio to off. I don't know if we default to, I think it might be defaulted to on. So you can turn the audio on most of the time. If someone you see is not looking at their phone and just scanning through a ton of books, they probably have earbuds in and they're plugged into their phone and their sound is on. That way, instead of annoying everyone in the entire store with the ding ding, you're actually just listening to it in your ears and you're hearing those sounds. So you're not annoying everyone, but that way your phone can be in your pocket. You can turn that lock feature on I was talking about and go through and scan the books. I personally, even if it's just for a second, like to see the information displayed on the screen. So I personally don't use that method. I just turn the sound off and put the phone on the shelf right next to me as I'm going through scanning books. So I can kind of see the information as it's popping up on the screen and see if it's accept, reject, and kind of gauge whether I want the book or not by looking at the information on the screen. So that's up to personal preference, but that's probably what people are doing. If you see them doing that in the stores, they have earbuds in, which is why you can't hear anything when they're scanning. Kevin says, after clicking the test database button, it reads successful S. What does the S mean? I had that exact same question at one point in time. So what our developer did with the test button right there is the test button actually scans a book in the background and makes sure it returns the data. If it returns the data, you know the database has been downloaded successfully. If it doesn't, we give you an error saying it's not been downloaded successfully. The reason why it says successful S is because the book he chose to scan in the background is something that starts with successful and then S is part of another word. That's the title of the book. So it only permits a certain amount of characters in there. So it says successful space S, which is the first letter of the next part of that book's title. But you only see successful S. So he just wanted to make the book it scanned be something that started with successful in the title, and he chose that book. That's why you see successful S. It's funny, I haven't had someone else ask that question yet, which surprises me because I had that question the first time I did it. I was like, why in the world is there an extra S right there? But it is the title of a book. You're just not seeing the full title. Kevin says, How can we best use ScoutIQ Lite? Let me know what you mean by ScoutIQ Lite. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know if you mean ScoutIQ Live mode or yeah. Let me know what you mean by ScoutIQ Lite, and I'll be able to better answer that question. Let me double check here if there's something else. Yeah, there's one other big thing I want to share with you guys. Oh, have not been connected yet. So what you're going to want to do is go to the portal at app.scoutiq.co, and you're going to want to put in your credentials there. Your credentials are actually pretty easy to be put in. If you go to app.scoutiq.co, sign in, click on settings at the top, then click on Amazon settings, you're going to get this tab right here. And then you're going to want to go through the step 1 through 3 at the bottom. You're going to click this link in step 1, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner. It'll open up the page. It'll even pre-fill all the information for you. You just click next, accept the terms and conditions on that final page, and then you're going to copy your full Amazon seller ID and your Amazon auth token, paste them into this page in ScoutIQ, hit save, and then you'll get those live results back to your phone. You'll want to make sure your Amazon seller ID starts with A, and it's going to be, I don't know, I think it's like 10 characters, something like that. Copy the entire thing. Then your Amazon auth token starts out with amzn.mws. You want to copy that plus all the letters and numbers after that. I think that one's more like 12 digits. Paste that in there, hit save information, and you can verify that's working by going to your app, setting it to live mode, scanning a book, and if the cover of the book shows up on your app in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll know it looked up those results live and your app is working properly. So if you're having trouble, double check you put those credentials in there properly. Kevin says when you swipe right. So I think what you're talking about, yeah, is the ScoutIQ Lite screen, the one with the bars, the green and orange bars. Got Caleb coming in here real fast. Jump on here for a second. Caleb can actually answer this question pretty well.
What's up, everybody?
Over here.
I finished my call faster than you finished your call.
I know. I'm still going here, talking everyone's ears off.
That one felt like an hour and a half, but it was only 45 minutes, so that was cool.
So Kevin here asked. He said, Can you explain the ScoutIQ Lite screen? What is it? How is it different? One of the bars, not the main one. Yeah.
So we made ScoutIQ Lite because one, just from a better user interface or user experience, just looking at numbers is kind of confusing. So we made the chart. Can you pull it up? I'm trying to think of it offhand.
I think I might actually have it on here. Let me see.
Yeah, there it is. Here's an example. So we'll walk you through the metrics. So that's going to show up on the screen. The one on the left is what you normally see. For those of you that like data, it's cool, but your eyes can kind of glaze over. It's a bunch of numbers, a bunch of columns. We tried to make all the critical data up at the top. So your profit, your buy cost, the rank, e-score, kind of that top left corner you can kind of hone in and look at. But we made the other one for those that are like, you know what, I trust the data. I don't need to see every single price. And what we did is we're including historical data, so sales rank and e-score. How popular is it? Is there demand for the book? And what it is we pre-built the ranges to say if sales rank is really good, like under, I forget, 100,000 maybe, or maybe under 50,000, we peg the chart all the way to the right. So that graph will be green and as long as it gets. So they're color-coded, and there's like 5 graduations in there. So the two largest, so 5 and 4, if you want to call them that, are both green. I think 3 is yellow, and 2 is yellow, and then 1 is like red. So basically we're trying to say the top 2 metrics, sales rank and e-score, and again, the example here, we didn't have e-score at the time, we probably do now, but e-score is better than rank, but those 2 metrics show demand. So if there's demand for the book, then those turn green. You can say, yep, this sells a lot, a little bit, it's yellow, or not very much at all, red. If it's not very much at all, that kind of cues you in, okay, everything else better be pegged green. It better be an expensive book or it's not worth it for me to look at. So the first 2 are demand. The next couples are based on, the next 3 are pricing. So we show you the lowest used price, the used buy box, which if you sell prime, which most of you should, that's the price that you really should be keying in on. Sometimes you can price higher, sometimes it's too high. The reason we show the used price and the buy box is sometimes the used price will be like $6 used, including shipping. It's basically a penny book. It's very inexpensive. And if the used buy box is $200 because somebody just put it in there or the repricer took over and it's bad, you're not going to get $200 on a book that's $6 merchant fulfilled. That's maybe 1 out of 1,000 times someone will buy it, but it's not a good long-term strategy. So we want you to see the lowest used. That's kind of the floor price. Worst case, you can probably get that price. The used buy box is that FBA or prime bump, what you could probably get. And then Amazon is your ceiling. You really shouldn't price above Amazon. So we show you those 3 prices, knowing that your price will probably be the used buy box, but it's in most cases is going to be between the used price and Amazon's price. And then lastly, we show the supply. What's the number of offers? If there's 1,000 people selling the book, the price is more likely to tank. Although we've done more analysis on this, and the number of offers actually doesn't really correlate to the prime bump or anything else. So you can actually kind of ignore that. But fewer offers is good. If you have 2 offers, it's probably not a realistic price because it's just 2 people on the listing. If there's a medium number of offers, 10 to 100, it's probably good. You can probably trust the price that's there because, you know, if they were all bad pricing, then somebody would have undercut them. So that's what it's for. Basically, at a nutshell, look at the top 2 data points. If they're green, if they're pegged to the right, and you know a bar is 5, it's great. Off we go. You guys are cute plus smart. Must be talking about Matthew.
What's it guys? Plural.
I mean, maybe smart, but anyway, if you see that the historically it's been selling really well, so sales rank and e-score, then you know that you can get by with slimmer margins. If it's going to sell all the time, if this book sells, you know, every single day, and you can make $2 selling it, it's probably worth selling because it's very likely. If it's selling once every 6 months, so the e-score is 1, if you're going to make $2, you probably shouldn't send it in because your likelihood of getting the next sale are so small. So if e-score is low, so if those numbers are red or yellow, then you need to have higher profit to offset the risk that it won't sell.
Yeah.
That's really what ScoutIQ is doing. If you didn't take away anything else from that really long-winded discussion, if you didn't take away anything else, understand that if a book is selling a lot, you can accept a very small profit margin because it's very likely to sell. If a book is selling a medium amount, you need to make a little more profit margin. And if a book is not selling very much at all, your profit margin needs to be high to factor in the how unlikely it is to sell.
Yeah.
Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, that was a good explanation. Yeah, there's 2 right here about triggers now, kind of similar. One says, default triggers work well. What triggers do you change, if any? And then Kevin says, give examples of what people are doing with custom triggers. Great
Yeah, good question. So Philip, we'll answer yours first. Would I change any triggers? I built them really how I run my business, so I wouldn't change them. The only thing I would change, let me back up. There's a lot of math, science, art, etc. experience that went into building our triggers. We get users all the time that use competing apps and go, hey, I scanned stuff with theirs rejected it, yours accepted it, I sent it in and it sold and I made money, so thanks for that. That's the benefit you get with working with us is we understand the market, we're in the market, we get it. So I would leave the e-score ranges, the rank ranges, which FBA slot we look at. If you sell Prime, leave everything alone. The only thing I would change is the target profit. So I think our floor price right now maybe is $1.50, maybe $2.
I think $2.
Let's
maybe
say
actually $1.50.
Let's say it's $1.50. If you're like you really value your time and you go, I don't want to list a lot of books and make a little bit of money, then you might want to raise that profit amount up just a bit. It looks like $2 is our floor price profit. At least it was when we made this video. So if anything, I would not touch the e-score, rank, any of the FBA slots. I would only change the target profit. And if you sell bulk, if you're getting books for free or paying, $100 for a Gaylord or 1,000 books, you might want to lower that down to 50 cents or $1 or 90 cents, wherever your sweet spot is. And if it's just you and you really want to value your time, then you might want to raise the profit up. So I would leave the triggers alone. I would probably only change the profit. And then the other thing that people say every once in a while is they don't I think our triggers go up to 3 or 6 million and we'll actually still buy some of that. Some of you go, I don't want to buy really any long tail items, so you can actually turn those off. So at the very end, it says always reject. Set that to yes, maybe if the e-score is 0 or 1, if you don't want to sell very many long tail items, and you can protect yourself that way. So that's probably what I would change. So Kevin, to your question, would you give examples of what people are doing with custom triggers? Probably mostly that. The other thing is if you do sell merchant fulfilled, you don't really care about FBA slots or the buy box. You really you want to turn those off or set them to skip, and you're just going to be looking at the merchant fulfilled slot. And again, same rules apply. Triggers where the e-score is really high, it's selling a lot. If the e-score is north of 100, then you don't want to price at the lowest merchant fulfilled offer. You might want to be the 3rd or 4th or 5th. And items where e-score is 10, you might want to be the lowest merchant fulfilled price to try and get that next sale. Yep. So you'll want to change these if you're doing merchant fulfilled. Outside of that, people, for the most part, I think maybe 70-80% of our customers leave them alone, and it's working in their business. So if it's one less thing to figure out. When you start, there's such a learning curve. People don't understand you can even sell on Amazon. So how do I list? How do I figure out my app? How do I get stuff to Amazon? How do I reprice? How do I do accounting? There's so many things that you can get overwhelmed. We want to make it super easy. Download the app, connect it to Amazon, start scanning books. If it turns green, send it in. You're going to make enough money to get over the hump, and then you can kind of fine-tune your business after that.
Definitely. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, great questions, guys. If you have any last-minute questions, you can throw those there in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer those. But I realize I've already been talking for like 50 minutes now, so if you guys are all talked out, that's fine too. And like I always say, we do these every Thursday at 11 a.m. MST, so if you guys have questions next week that you did not get answered today, just tune in next Thursday at 11 a.m. We can get to those questions.
And for those that don't understand Mountain Time, that's 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific. Central, you can do the math. And if you're in Mountain Time, look us up.
I should probably just always do EST. People just know
People
EST.
don't know Mountain. And
EST bugs me because it makes me have to think twice. But I guess everyone else has to think twice, probably 3 times to get MST right. So
yeah. Philip, one more question, says, if the book sells when it hits the warehouse, I'm cool with $2 profit, I'm assuming. A box with 40 books at $2 profit works for me. Absolutely.
Yep.
One other thing that, not that people don't tell you, but we don't think about it, you're never going to sell all your books. So if you send a box of 40 books, unless the ranking is like 1,000 on every one, your odds of selling all of them are not there. You're probably going to sell 80% of your books, especially if you have some long tail or books that are 3, 5, 8 million that you send in hoping that they might sell. So don't set your margins too low. I've worked with some clients, some bulk sellers, that buy by the truckload, and they're setting their margins at 10 to 20 to 30 cents. And that's cool if you're guaranteed to sell, but nothing is. So the prices on some of them drop, they don't sell some of them, and by the end of the day, they're basically breaking even on a ton of books that they're wasting labor on. So be careful, make sure you manage that. But $2 is typically a very safe profit level, which is why we've done that.
Yeah, now you can sell books at $2 profit all day long.
Cool.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, thank you guys for being on here. Hopefully that gave you guys a good start with ScoutIQ and learning how to use it. We're always available in the support channel. If you have more questions, or like I said, please go to the Book Flipper group and join that. I'm going to throw that link back up here for you guys.
Best friends group.
Yeah, like I said, before I just got that one. Wait, best friends group, what? BF, yeah. The Book Flipper group. Like I said, there's almost 11,000 members in there. So if you guys have a question, chances are it's already been asked and answered. So you can just search the group for that. Or if you throw a question in there, you'll probably have people respond and answer you within a couple minutes, which is awesome. So use that resource available to you. And like I said, the update will be dropping either today or tomorrow. We'll announce that in there as well. So if you want to look out for that live stream, join that group there. But thank you guys for watching and being on the call with us.
Much love. Later.
Talk to you guys later.